Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on this channel. This is a little bit weird, I know. You can see the separate thing. Anyway, I wanted to do an update on the previous video that I did on this channel on how to fix your OBS settings and stuff. I gotta admit that I did not know what I was talking about that time. But anyway, I am a lot more experienced now and I'm ready to make a little bit of a fix to that and an update. So, first thing, I want you to take a look at this. I have my face cam and my display right beside each other, and the reason for why I have done this is because many YouTubers like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, maybe Ryan, they do this. And the reason is because you can separate the two different clips in an editing software afterwards. There is a bunch of videos on how to do this. You can look it up. And so what I've done is that I have put two 1440p clips right next to each other, which means that I need this resolution right here, 5120 x 1440. So it's the height of a 1440p recording, and it's the width of two 1440p recordings. If you maybe like you record in 1080p or something like that, and you want to upscale to 1440p, I recommend that you use the Lanczos downscaling filter. I said this as well in the previous video, but it's just because that filter gives it more sharpness, which is really good for image quality. But I'm not going to talk about the video settings right here. I'm going to talk about the output settings. So first, I'm going to go to the recording tab, and I'm going to tell you, make sure that this says output mode advanced and that the type is standard. Then I'm going to take a look at these settings right here as the recording settings. I like the recording format to be MKV because of the fact that MKV basically means that whatever kind of audio mixer that you have here, what kind of tracks you have Discord or game audio or your mic audio like me, music audio. I don't really use that one for anything because I don't really need it. If you have these separate audio tracks, basically what MKV does is that you can have those separate audio tracks split in whatever kind of editing software you're using, so you can like mute stuff on the individual audio tracks and bring up the audio to make it more audible without disrupting or interfering with the other audio tracks. And the video encoder, I like it to be NVIDIA NVENC AV1 for multiple reasons. Reason one, it's really good. The image quality to bitrate ratio is way better than both H.264 and HEVC. So that means that if you have a bitrate of 10,000 on HEVC, you can get away with lower bitrate for the same quality on AV1. And for H.264 it's way more dramatic, like 10,000 bitrate for AV1 is way better image quality than what it is for H.264. And also I want to talk about why I also use AV1 for reason number two, because H.264 doesn't support a higher resolution than 4K, which is 4,000 something. And as you can see, I have 5,120, which is higher than the width of a 4K recording, which means that it won't be able to support it. It's because it's over the supported range. And I really do not like HEVC because HEVC is really easy to overload, which means that you're gonna have to like really put some performance settings on, and you really have to put the quality to a minimum, so it doesn't overload the preset. And what happens when the preset overloads is that your recording starts to lag like crazy, and it's impossible. It's like less than 1 FPS, literally. And the audio encoder, this is, just leave it on default. This is the default. And also, as you can see here, audio track, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 enabled. And why is that? That is because I have 4 audio tracks here in my audio mixer, and basically what that does is that if you haven't checked the amount of the amount of boxes as audio tracks in this mixer here, one of those, or maybe multiple audio tracks, won't be transferred to that editing software, won't be detected as a separate audio track. So basically what happens is that some of these maybe disappear, or they might mix with other audio tracks. I'm not too sure. I've never really tried, but I think that's what it does. And the rescale output, I don't really use this. Downscaling filter is a lot better, and the output is way better. Just don't use this. It's pretty useful. And the last 2 settings here, not really that important. Alright, let's move over to the encoder settings. So this one, I really like this one. So the thing is that on rate control, you want to have either constant bitrate or CQP, because these are constant, as it suggests. The bitrate is constant, so whatever bitrate you have here will always be the same bitrate, in no matter what kind of scene it is and stuff. I don't like variable bitrate, these 2 lower right here, because it suggests the bitrate varies, and if there's a very high motion scene, it will take away some of the bitrate, and in lower motion scene, it will take that bitrate and put it in those lower motion scenes, so the image quality gets better. I really do not like variable bitrate, because even if it's high motion scenes, it's really noticeable that the quality gets chipped away. As you can see on one of my recent videos, the part 2 of my F125, my team career mode, like, it's really bad for FPS games or any kind of racing game or high motion scene games. The bitrate right here, you shouldn't worry too much about this. And a lot of people on YouTube or whatever, they have these videos where it says like, oh, you should check your internet speed, then put the bitrate assigned for the, upload speed accordingly, like, and it's like different for everyone. But the bitrate in recording has nothing to do with your internet. Here's why. It's because that you're not doing anything like live. You're not in need of your internet. Instead, the amount of bitrate you have actually has something to say about how much resources the recording uses on your PC. So if you have a higher bitrate, it's going to be used a lot more resources. It's going to be using a lot more usage on your GPU and CPU, depending on what kind of encoder you have here. If you have a X264, it will be using more resources on your CPU, because that's what you're recording on. You're using your CPU. And if you're using anything GPU needed kind of encoder, like NVIDIA NVENC, it will take more and more resources from your GPU if you have a higher bitrate. So just kind of experiment with what you like, and yeah. But I feel like I have a pretty genius idea, I feel like, because you see, I have a way to crank these settings to the max and still having stable and beautiful looking videos. And here's the thing, I recently found out that if you cap your frame rate or use a VSync, you can get away with way higher quality videos and still having pretty smooth gameplay, so you don't, you know, look a lot worse in that one game that you love than what you actually are. So I want to recommend to limit your frame rate to at least 100 FPS in any kind of game. Depending on what PC you have, of course, though, and what your PC can handle. But yeah, I'd recommend that. And I have my display has a VSync of 165 Hz, which means that it will only display 165 frames. Like anything above that, it won't look any smoother, even with or without VSync. So I've figured out that I want to use that in future videos because this is a really recent thing, and it takes away a lot of the usage on your resources, which is why you can crank these settings quite high. And for the keyframe interval right here, you want 2 seconds, because for 60 FPS recordings, right? 60 FPS, that is the highest that YouTube recommends. You want 2 seconds because every keyframe, for every other frame, it makes 2 keyframes, which means 120 frames it's like 120 keyframes basically, which is double the FPS that YouTube supports. This is really good. I think it's something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but 2 seconds in a keyframe interval, that's really good. The B frames, I'm not really sure about that. I just have it on 2, and I feel like that works out. And as you can see here, I have not enabled look ahead or adaptive quantization, and here's why. Look ahead, as you can see here, if we hover over here, if enabled, it will increase visual quality by determining a better bitrate distribution through analysis of future frames at the cost of increased GPU utilization and latency. So basically what that does is that it increases the bitrate in very high complex scenes like explosions or something like that, and it's really not noticeable on higher bit rates. Anything above like 6,000 or like 10,000, something like that, you notice no difference, basically, because it only really works for lower bitrate recordings, and it's not needed at all for higher bitrate recordings. Plus it takes a lot of GPU usage and latency, as you can see here, at the cost of increased GPU. That's basically a way of saying that your PC will die, basically. And adaptive quantization, why do I not have this turned on? That is because, just like variable bitrate over here, it takes away some of the bitrate in high motion scenes and puts it in lower motion scenes. And as you know, if you have both variable bitrate and adaptive quantization on, it's definitely noticeable that it's just so bad distributed, and I do not recommend it at all. Coming over to the audio here, as you can see, the audio bitrate is 320 all the way up to track 4 here, track 5 and track 6. I don't know why I can't go up and down here, but it's like if you have, like me, 4 tracks or less or more, you want those tracks to be the highest quality, so that's why I want the highest bitrate. Track 5 is 160, same for track 6, because I'm not using those, so what's the point anywhere, you know? And here we go over to streaming, and we're gonna look at the streaming settings. as you can see here, it says audio track, and it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 6. And as you can see, I have checked number 1 here. Why is that? Well, there's no specific reason, because no matter what you do, one of these will be checked, and you can't uncheck all of them. And that is because that does so that in advanced audio properties right here, it determines which one of these tracks will be used. So right now, since I've checked track 1, this first line here, this first audio track is the only thing that will be used in streaming. So that means that if you have your game audio on separate tracks, or your Discord audio, what kind of audio you have, to like get those different audio tracks in an editing software so you can like fix them individually, you will not get these outputs. They will be muted, and whatever you have on this first track, that's what will be heard. So if I have my mic audio on the first track here, my game and my Discord and other tracks, they won't be heard. Only the mic audio will be heard. So make sure that whatever track you have selected in your streaming tab, make sure that when you're streaming, all of those audios will be on the same track. And now going to the video encoder, as you can see as well, I have AV1 as the video encoder. I am planning on streaming it to Twitch, so that won't be the case, and here's why. AV1 is only supported on YouTube currently, fully supported at least, so on any other Counter streaming platform you want H.264 as it's the only supported one. I think you can try Hevk, but generally just use H.264 because from my knowledge it's the only one that's supported. Okay, now let's take a look at the encoder settings. You want the same for constant bitrate, you want that here as well, obviously. And as you can see here, boom, 60,000. Why is it 60,000? Why is it 50,000 here? Well, I can explain that. This is when your internet becomes important. So we can go into the browser right here and search up speed test and go on speed test by Ookla and go in here. Now I want to press go, and it will analyze the download speed and the upload speed of your internet. And after working a bit, you can see that my download speed is 298 megabits and my upload speed is 265 megabits. So what you're going to do now is search up your calculator, and whatever the upload speed is, you want to type that in, 265, and then you want to multiply that by 0.2 or 0.3, and that's because you could also type in 0.5, and this is basically calculating the percentage of your upload speed that you want to use as the bitrate. The highest, safest, it's like the highest max that's safe is half the bitrate, but it's not recommended for me, I feel like. Definitely because you want to be a little bit safer than just a little bit safe. You want to be very safe. You want to be balanced safe, I feel like. You want to have a little bit risk, but you want to be more safe than just a little bit, you know? So 20 to 30%, that's about where you want it to be. And then do that, and it says for me 53 here. And if I do 265 times 0.3, it says 79.5. So anywhere between 50 to 70,000 ish. So yeah, I have put 60,000 here. But here's the thing, this only applies for YouTube, and here's why. That's because that if you're streaming to Facebook, Kick, or Twitch, the highest that you want is 6,000, because anything about that is just not supported. So 6,000 maximum to anything else than YouTube. And the same for keyframe interval here as in recording, but the preset is actually lower, or higher actually, and here's why. Anything like preset 5 to preset 7, the quality difference there it's not very noticeable. So yeah, you want to be a little bit safer, to go slow and good quality, just like to be a little bit safer because you want a good streaming experience for your viewers. Same for the multipass mode here, and the profile, well, it's going to be a little bit different because you're generally going to usually want to use H.264 for streaming on Twitch, Kick, or Facebook, and on YouTube you can use AV1 or H.264, you determine. And same for the B-frames and look ahead and adaptive quantization. Usually a lot of these things are as the same as recording, so yeah. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to save it if you want to show someone how to fix Adobe settings that really need this video. If you like the video, click that like button. Comment down below if you want to see something similar or anything else on the channel they want me to do. And please consider subscribing. Just a suggestion, but I would really appreciate it as it helps me out quite a lot here on this channel. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!